up, guys? Welcome back to the Instant Replay Podcast. I'm your host, Calvin Keys.
I'm Ray.
I'm Jack.
Very exciting week of NFL action. I know it's been a minute since we've hopped on the mic to film this podcast. School's busy, sports are busy, just life in general. But I'm really happy to be back with you guys, and I think we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah, definitely a lot. Quite a bit to talk about.
Let's start off with, how was your guys' weekend? I basically did nothing. I actually watched probably the most football I have over a weekend in quite a while because I actually had time to.
I watched some college football, worked out a little.
You see Mike Leach dancing after the win.
That's a great win. 24 points down, I think, and their quarterback threw for 5-6 passing touchdowns.
Jeez.
That's definitely a record.
Jeez. How about you, Ray?
I'd say this weekend is probably almost the least amount of football I watched, other than obviously I watched Red Zone, so that keeps me up to date a little bit. Watched the Michigan game on Saturday.
Huge win at Beaver Stadium.
Big win.
Eric all clutched up, dude.
Yeah, that was big. And then I watched a bunch of NFL. Obviously watched Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football last night. Two interesting games. Was disappointed by my Lions again. Don't know why that disappoints me, but, sometimes that happens.
How can you still be disappointed at this point?
No, I wasn't even surprised. I was actually like, I want the Lions to lose, and then they tied. So
At the end of the day, the Lions are undefeated in the month of November. Say what you want. Haters gonna hate. Bye week tie. At the end of the day, they're undefeated this month. It's only gonna go up from here, right?
tied. So
Yeah, you went hunting, right?
I did. Yeah.
Did you see anything?
A little bit. My dad's boss shot a nice 10-point.
Gee, a 10-point?
Yeah, but it was really old, so it was really kind of like ugly.
That's crazy.
I basically sat in the blind and slept for about 3 hours during the middle of the day, knowing nothing was gonna show up. So
Jack has some kangaroos up on his hunting property. You see any of those this weekend?
No, I didn't go hunting.
You didn't go hunting? Not a big hunter guy?
Used to be, but I just don't like it anymore.
Yeah, I've never hunted. What I tell everyone is my grandparents were hippies, so they didn't really believe in that sort of thing. And then I'm not a hippie, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. What do you guys want to start off with? I know for me, this weekend was one of the first times in a while that all three of my teams all won. Michigan won on Saturday, the Red Wings won on Saturday, and then the Packers, it wasn't pretty, but they took care of business against the Seahawks. And maybe we can start off with that. Very interesting week to be a Packers fan. In digital media class, Onstott, our teacher, always has the TV on and First Take and Sports Center and all that stuff. All they seem to want to talk about is Rodgers and the whole vaccination controversy, which it's a big story. It makes sense. I'm a little pissed still that he pretty much just lied to everyone, and I wish he would just follow the rules so he could play football. But at the end of the day, he came back yesterday. Or not yesterday, Sunday. We're recording this on Tuesday. He didn't really look like himself, which makes sense given the fact that he came off the COVID list the day before and hadn't practiced in like a week and a half. But I think that's just a testament to Rodgers. He can still be like better than Jordan Love coming off of a 10-day quarantine.
Flu game.
No, yeah, Aaron Rodgers definitely an insanely good player. I think that he really proved everybody wrong. Because we watched First Take and everybody was just absolutely ripping on the guy all week.
Aaron Rodgers
is the worst quarterback in the game. It's undebatable.
Stephen A. actually likes Aaron, but he was like, "How irresponsible can you get, Aaron Rodgers?"
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith. I saw a mean tweet one time. It said Stephen A. Smith is like a human trying to be a caps lock button.
That's so true.
It's true. It is.
Stephen A. Smith is a human caps lock button. Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, Packers, elite defense, you think?
Yeah, last 20 drives, they haven't allowed a touchdown.
They look pretty elite to me. I was telling you guys before the podcast, Kevin King got an interception. Well, wonders never cease. He literally, I don't even know how they called it a pick. The Seahawks threw the ball, or Russell Wilson threw the ball into his chest in the end zone, and he almost dropped it still. I was watching it with my grandma, and I was complaining about how bad Kevin King was, and then he got the interception. I was like, well, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Patriots and the Browns. Wow, the Patriots blew them out 45-7. That's a big win for the Patriots. I have Mac Jones on my fantasy team. So
Really? How many points he put up this week?
It's 17. Let me check.
Oh, before we talk about the Patriots, I wanted to talk about Russell Wilson really quick. When he had that finger injury, like I forget who they were playing, but he had to get surgery, and they said it was going to be like an 8-week recovery time. Yeah. He came back in like 3 weeks. Watching the game, the commentators were saying he was getting up in the middle of the night to do his physical therapy, and he'd do it like 7 times a day. Russell Wilson, probably my favorite player in the NFL, if you didn't know. Amazing guy, and just his work ethic is insane. Anyways, Jack, back to Mac Jones.
Mac Jones got me 19 points. Threw for 3 touchdowns and 198 yards. That's big. I really like the way he's progressing. He's getting better. I feel like every game, and people are still harping on Belichick, but it's his first year, so it just we'll see what happens. I think he's improving though, which is good for the Patriots and Belichick.
Absolutely. What was the score? 45-7 over the Browns. And I saw something. I think it was on Instagram. I forget who said it. It was somebody on ESPN. They just like to say stuff that's controversial for no reason, so they get attention. Yep. But they said that Mac Jones in his career right now is better than Tom Brady was at this point in his career, which I think that's true.
Tom Brady's rookie season, he was on the bench, so it isn't really.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know why people are surprised. Like Mac Jones, he was a mid-first round pick, but I felt like people were sleeping on him in the draft. Like Alabama just produces good players. They've shown that time and again.
In general, they just always produce great athletes. Yes. And Mac Jones, great system quarterback. Throws at checkdowns, and he can take shots down the field when he needs to.
Yeah, it's just really Alabama used to be a big running backs team when they came to like drafts and everything. Now their quarterbacks are starting to evolve and be actually good NFL quarterbacks. And we got, Tua is doing all right, isn't he, or something
Tua,
like that.
He's been injured.
I think he's been up and down.
His injuries.
He's not getting a lot of protection from the Dolphins O-line.
Oh, definitely.
And then you got Matt Jones, who was very good last year in college.
Kyler Murray. I mean, he didn't play.
Jalen Hurts.
He transferred to Oklahoma.
Jalen
Hurts,
playing really well.
Yes, he did transfer. But yeah, it's really just Saban has evolved a lot, really, when it comes to a coach and everything. But you have to if you want to be good nowadays.
All right. One thing that did surprise me was Thursday night, Dolphins taking down the Ravens.
Jeez.
I think the highlight of that game. Did you watch that game?
I did not get a chance to.
The highlight of the game was the Dolphins lineman catching a screen pass and taking it to the house. Obviously, it didn't count, but
because he's not an eligible receiver.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do we think about the Browns lose? I mean, we were just talking about the Patriots. They lost 45-7 to the Patriots. I don't know. It's interesting. I know Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb have been really banged up. I think if they're both healthy, it's a pretty tough team to stop.
Oh, yeah.
But just kind of a mess over there in Cleveland right now. And even just the whole Odell Beckham Jr. controversy, if you want to talk about that a little bit. They put him on waivers to release him, and he was not getting any targets or anything. Honestly, I'm of the mind that OBJ is one of the most overrated players in the NFL. And the fact that he's shown time and again how he's a locker room cancer. He's just really. I was shocked even that the Rams wanted to sign him because, one, they already have like 2 or 3 top guys. I mean, Robert Woods went down, so I can understand that. But it's like even without Woods, they've got Kupp, they've got Van Jefferson, they've got Tyler Higbee gets a lot of target. Like I don't see OBJ getting a lot of the workload, especially with how much Stafford throws the ball to Cooper Kupp. And when you're a team like the Rams that you're right on the bubble of trying to, win a Super Bowl and win a championship. Like you're right there on the cusp.
One of the Super Bowl favorites.
Why would you bring in someone like OBJ who's just going to be a distraction?
True, but it's interesting. I don't know how they brought in OBJ and like salary cap doesn't play effect and everything. And like they got Von Miller, that Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, and all those good. I just wonder how they can sign a guy like that with like their salary cap and like. And don't they ever run out of money?
Well, they just backload the contract, I believe. This is what they do.
And I think when Woods is on injured reserve, they can like get relief and use that salary part of the cap on another player instead. And does anyone know, is OBJ just going to be there for the remainder of this season?
Yeah, I think he only signed for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not surprised that he only had 2 catches last night. 2 catches for 18 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
So
They got crushed by the
the
49ers
49ers absolutely crushed them.
last night on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I got to watch some of that game.
31-10.
Stafford, well, the second pick he had wasn't really his fault. The guy was supposed to catch it, and he did, and he bobbled it.
The first one was an arm punt.
All you Lions fans, though, all I've heard this season is like, this is Matt Stafford, what he would have done on the Lions if he had a good team.
Yeah.
But at the end of he's struggled back-to-back weeks now. I don't know. I mean,
but you're gonna have. Yes, he has his flaws where he'll sometimes take shots that he shouldn't, but he didn't sling it. He's a good quarterback. But when you have anybody you can say this about, if you have a pretty good quarterback and you have a good defense to complement it and a good offense around him, you'll have success. Problem with the Lions is they haven't had good defense in a while. They haven't had really good receivers in a while, and they haven't had a run game that could complement with Stafford's passing. So.
Yeah. I think you talk about all those different things. I feel like the Rams on paper, they should not be losing to a team like the 49ers. I mean,
everyone has off games.
It makes sense, but it's like, I don't know. Everyone all week was hyping up, okay, they signed Von Miller, okay, they signed OBJ, and then neither of those guys did anything.
Yeah, I definitely think that people kind of overhyped them, kind of like people overhyped the Cowboys at all times. But we're not here to talk about the Cowboys. Rams, I think they're good. I think the Titans had a great game plan on defense for Matthew Stafford, and so did the Niners, which was essentially double team their two best pass rushers, and don't do anything over 5-step. That's what they did. They didn't do it. I don't think there was one 5-step drop. They didn't do any play action. So get the ball out of their hands quickly and kind of avoid that potential to get sacked or tackle for loss. And it really worked out well for both teams, the Titans and the Niners. And then on the defensive side, they know that the Rams are going to pass a lot, so they play a soft zone coverage, make them force checkdowns, and try to get those coverage sacks.
Well, if you want to watch a good defensive game plan, watch Super Bowl. I think it was 50. It was a Rams versus the Patriots. I saw that game was
most boring Super Bowl I've watched.
But I think a big part of that was Jared Goff.
If you watch the game plan behind Belichick's playing to shut down that offense, it's crazy how much he outcoached. It's how they knew everything. That's Belichick.
Yeah, and people who said the Patriots were going to struggle this season, I really doubted that, just because when you have a coach as good as Belichick, he's gonna use the guys. He's gonna use the guys he has to win. Like, he knows how to use his personnel properly to set up a good game plan and stuff.
I like to watch the Cleveland '95 A Football Life, when it talks about where Bill Belichick got his first head coaching job in Cleveland. He had like 5 assistants that ended up becoming head coaches. One was Kurt Ferentz, and now he's at Iowa. One was Nick Saban.
Jeez.
And it was like Ozzie Newsome was like one of the pro scouts, something like that. Now he was the GM for the Ravens, and he drafted Jonathan Ogden and all of them.
Right.
But yeah, that's interesting. That's a really interesting documentary, because he had a great team in '94, and then in '95 they were moving the team, so the team just plummeted, and they were picked to win the Super Bowl that year. But
So before we move on, you guys think the Rams defense is soft? Because hold on, before you come to a conclusion, the 49ers put up 31 points on these guys, and they don't really have that many weapons. They have Jimmy Garoppolo, who's like a slightly above average quarterback in my mind. Their running back core is banged up. Eli Mitchell got the majority of the touches, which, no hate towards Eli Mitchell. He's not an elite running back. And then you look at their receiving core. Obviously, George Kittle's an animal, but I don't know. I don't see, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, those type of guys. I don't know how they torch you for 31 points.
That's exactly what the Rams are thinking too. I think that they go in underestimating how good Deebo Samuel is, and then he torches them for 2 touchdowns.
I'll say one thing though. I was watching this morning on ESPN. They were talking about the game plan on offense that the 49ers had. Kyle Shanahan did a great job of he would put Deebo Samuel as a running back and let him go, and he had a touchdown. So he is very creative in a way of trying to try and make mismatches on offense.
We were just talking about the Rams, a really good team that underachieved this week. Another team that I think really underachieved was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What happened?
Yeah.
You know, losing to the Washington football team, who are 3-6.
So, I believe that a lot of people forget that this Washington defense has really been underperforming this year. They're top 5 on paper coming into the season, and they've just been absolutely getting torched. I'm wondering if they kind of like maybe found out a game plan that works for them and how to utilize their weapons on defense. And you know, obviously, if that's the true, then they stopped arguably the best quarterback of all time, if not and a great offense.
But yeah, I think, you know, maybe the Bucs had an off day. Supposedly Bruce Arians, he was, you know, he's straight up. I know how he is. He said, "Don't blame it on the receivers, blame it on Brady. He's got to fix it."
So he called out Brady.
Yeah, he's like that though. He's not going to hold anything back.
I think it's less. I think it's less him calling Brady out and more just like saying, you know, I want to see more from you.
Yeah.
It's not like him trying to alienate. And I feel like one of the reasons why I have so much respect from Tom Brady is, you know, that after an off game like that, he's only going to come back better. And he doesn't take stuff like that personally. He takes it to heart, and he really uses it as motivation to get better.
Yeah.
That's why he's, you know, the greatest quarterback of all time in the NFL, in my opinion.
Then the Lions and Steelers game.
God,
that was a god awful overtime.
Hold up, sorry, I wanted to just mention Chase Young torn ACL in that game.
Yes.
That's really, really, like, I think he played the majority of the game.
Yeah, I believe it was in the second half that he tore it.
So he tore it in the second half, so he got some really good pressure to Tom Brady in that game. Didn't see exactly how the injury happened, but best wishes to him. Obviously, that's a really long recovery time whenever you get a serious knee injury like that, torn ACL. And boy, has he been fun to watch this season, even with Washington struggling. Chase Young, just, you know, one of the reasons why you turn on the TV to watch football, because of guys like him.
Yeah, he's a great defender.
So yeah, the Lions and the Steelers games. That overtime, I'm happy for the Lions in a way. Yes, we tied, and just Jared Goff needs.
We didn't lose. We need to get Jared Goff.
Jared Goff needs to do something. I know. Yes, we did run for 200-something yards or something like that, but he needs to step up.
Start David Blau next week.
Yeah, why not give it to Blau? Try to give it to Blau. See what they can do. Yeah, he threw for 114 yards. He didn't throw any touchdowns.
He only threw 25 times.
Swift, he ran for 130 yards, which you know, with the Lions not being a big running team like they always been, that's not bad. But yeah, I was going crazy at the end where the Steelers player fumbled the ball and we got the ball back.
And then we did our little lateral game and tried to go out of bounds. Yeah. That's the most Lions thing ever, you know. Defense forces stop, and then Jared Goff.
What I mean, but literally, I know what you guys are talking about. I watched the fourth quarter of that game and the overtime. What do you want Goff to throw it downfield? Like, he's not going to be able to do that.
He can't. So like that's what I'm saying. Is they played 5 quarters and he threw 25 times for 114 yards.
Yeah, that field looked terrible. Yeah, it was a mess.
It was raining. I gotta say that. Yes, it's raining, but at the same time,
I mean, even when it's not raining, he doesn't throw the ball off field.
It's hard, but you gotta be able to make those plays when they need you to. And I like Dan Campbell. I think he's doing well, and people are now harping on him saying, "No, God, this guy sucks. I think we should be doing." He doesn't have a good team. He needs to build a team. He only has maybe one.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, he has DeAndre Swift, Hawkinson, and on defense, there's really no star players. So then, what do you expect? Like, what can you do? So he just gotta. It's a rebuilding thing. But my biggest thing is, should I stay? This is a rebuilding process or not? 'Cause I know I've been waiting a while, and we all say, "Oh, this is their year," and it doesn't happen. And it's just disappointing.
This definitely has not been our year.
I don't know if I can trust it, but at the same time, I think they're doing better. I've been told that the players are fighting for Dan Campbell, which is good. Anytime you have locker room support. It'll be interesting to see. It's probably a good 3-year build, maybe 4 years. So it's still in time.
Even as you guys are criticizing Jared Goff, which I think you have every right to do that, who is he throwing the ball to?
True.
I mean, typically he's captain checkdown, DeAndre Swift or DeAndre Swift
captain checkdown.
TJ Hawkinson. That's why if you want to pick up a Lions play, you pick up a tight end or a running back.
That Amon-Ra St. Brown kid, he's impressed me. He's doing pretty good for I didn't really think he was going to do anything insane, but he's doing pretty good. This guy,
He's better than Equinemius on the Packers.
Their receiving core isn't anything impressive, and
I mean, Khalif Raymond's decent. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I think the big guy,
they're young.
They
They're young.
need to draft some more players, but they can get players if they don't have the best season this year. They'll probably have a number 2, number 3 pick.
The big guy that I see who they're missing. I thought Quintez Cephas was really good early on. Is he banged up, injured right now?
I don't know. I'll say one thing. What I like from a rookie is Penei Sewell. He is. Yes, you can look at the record and say, well, they're still 8-1. I mean. 0-8-1, but still, Penei Sewell is holding his own. He's doing pretty well.
Great.
He was getting Donald mad, and he did a great job versus. I was watching a video.
T.J. Watt, I think 19 times that they passed.
Yeah, and he's
19 passes.
He's a good player.
Against T.J. Watt, not one pressure.
The Lions got a good draft pick out of Sewell, and they were smart. They didn't do what Lions always do and reach and get somebody they don't need. They got probably the best offensive lineman in the draft.
I think the most impressive stat from the Lions game is that the punter Jack Fox punted 10 times for 464 yards.
It's funny. I was talking to my buddy Drew Shar, D1 or not D1, college cross country runner at Davenport. I was hanging out with him watching Sunday Night Football, and he was saying he's in a fantasy league where they have punters, and you can get a ton of points off of your punters.
Oh, pick up the Lions punter.
I was going to say, he was talking about how Jack Fox put up 20 points or something in the fantasy. I don't know how that works, but
the Lions punter. It's only good Lions player.
Yeah.
There's a stat. I think they said Jack Fox leads the league in punting by double or something like that. So,
and then the kicker,
he punts 10
we
times.
had a chance to win the game, but I kind of knew that kicker wasn't going to win the game.
What is either your practice squad guy?
Yeah,
it looked like he was trying to hit a little bar down, didn't it?
I don't know if the guy's going to make it. But yeah, what do you
I will
expect?
say, not a very good kicker. Phenomenal mustache. 10 out of 10 mustache.
Yeah, phenomenal mustache.
Ryan Santoso, great mustache.
Wait,
Kick him. Get him off the team.
Did he go to Michigan?
I have no clue.
Santoso?
No, I remember there was a guy from Michigan, and he had a big beard, and it looked just kind of like him. But I don't know. I'm probably thinking of somebody else.
I don't know what you... Oh, okay. I'll look that up and get back to you.
One thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Titans beat the Saints. Close game. How about Cam Newton coming in and crushing the Cardinals?
He's back.
He's back.
I know that we just did a segue away from the Lions. When I'm watching that game and Ryan Santos, the Lions need to kick a 45-yard field goal to win the game.
His longest field goal is 35 yards. I had no hope.
No, but here's what I'm gonna say. They got Santoso where he's you're 99% sure he's not gonna make that field goal.
I was 100% sure.
Get Donald DeLahaye on the field. He's gonna nail that every time. Destroying.
I know, dude.
The YouTuber?
Sign him, please.
I don't know if everyone's familiar with him. He was played college football at UCF, Central Florida, and then quit so he could focus on YouTube, which was honestly...
He's very successful. It's his best decision he's ever made.
I don't know if I agree with that, man. You're a college football player. You can, just demonetize your YouTube channel or get rid of it or not post on it for a while and then go back. It's here's the thing. If you would have stayed the course in college, he'd be in the NFL right now. But I don't think teams want him because he's a YouTuber.
They say that he's too much of a distraction.
Too much of a distraction.
I remember,
Although they are going to sign guys
losing these games. I don't like losing games. I'd rather have a distraction on my sideline.
I remember when it comes to choking on a kick is Blair Walsh. Oh
my goodness!
I remember watching that live. I remember it was freezing outside during that game. I was I see him. This guy's amazing.
10 degrees. It's 10 to 9, dude.
What was that? What was that? A 20
It was a
yard?
wild card game. I remember watching it live. I was what just happened?
No, I watched it live too.
So did I.
I was what? I'm he made the most field goals in the league that year. He just pulled it. He just pulled the laugh. I was what just happened?
That's just some unwarranted Viking slander, but I'm here for it. Whenever we can make some Viking slander, I'm up for it.
That's when they played out in Minnesota.
Oh
that's
my
when
God. That's when they played at the college.
The college stadium.
Yeah,
they got that fancy TCF bank.
The TCF bank.
Vikings took down the Chargers this week.
Big win.
A positive note after we're roasting their playoff failures. They 27-20 close game against a Chargers team. They've struggled recently. They started off really hot.
I think Justin Herbert is the game's really speeding up for him a little bit. Like these defensive kind of like figured out what their game plan is.
But Herbert's really.
But he is such a
I love Justin
smart.
Herbert.
I love him too much. He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen.
He's smart.
As in terms of he controls the game and he can move if he wants to, and he's just a big body, and he has a cannon for an arm.
Hey, Kirk Cousins threw for 294 yards.
Jeez.
Kirk Cousins, if I die, I die.
Kirk Cousins.
Father Kirk.
Yeah, he's really. He's a really great
You guys
guy
know what
off
I'm
the
referencing?
field.
Do you remember when he said that about COVID? He was like, "Well, if I die, I die."
Oh yeah, you talk about his
Vaccine.
Yeah, his vaccine as well.
I die.
One thing, it's been a long time coming. I have Justin Jefferson in fantasy. He put up 30 points for me this week. Has put up like 10 or less the last 2 or 3 weeks. But this week he had 9 catches for 143 yards.
Jeez.
Didn't have a touchdown, but still, that's some phenomenal numbers.
That's crazy.
Dalvin did well.
This week I want to talk about the Bills versus Jets. I saw like this random TikTok popped on my For You page about who's gonna boom or bust for fantasy this week, and it said Stephon Diggs, big breakout week. I was like, he's not done very well the last couple weeks. Got like 14 points.
Yeah, the
He popped
Bills.
off like 30.
Here's the thing. I would not bet against the Bills pass game when they're about to play the New York Jets. That's a pretty.
Or their
I got
defense that
Josh
gave me
Allen.
16 points.
Yeah, I have Josh Allen on my fantasy. He always puts up crazy numbers. It's funny. You know where Josh Allen went to college?
Wyoming, yeah.
I remember when he was playing CMU, and they were saying how like he was supposed to be like a future draft pick, but he got hurt or something like that year. But like
Josh Allen, my favorite.
I love Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen also didn't.
He's my top 3 favorite quarterbacks in the league. Russell Wilson's number 1.
Wow.
I would
Russell,
say I would say Herbert at 2 and Allen at 3. That's not my
indisputable one.
That's not my ranking of like who the best quarterbacks are in the league. Those are just my favorite. Like Russell Wilson, I love him as a player, and he's like,
He's a game, really. He's a 5. Was he 5'11"? And now like they did people. Like imagine if a Kyler Murray were in the 1991. Let's say he entered
wouldn't
the
touch the
draft.
field.
He probably
he would
no
win
way he'd be
MLB.
picked in the first round. Could you
He'd
see
be-
that maybe to like
He'd be
a
in the MLB.
final.
well,
The 6th or 7th round, just so much different. Like the games and evolved so much. It's
yeah.
crazy.
Everyone talks about. I don't know much about baseball. I'm not going to pretend to know much about baseball, but people always talk about. Kyler Murray got drafted, right? When he went
got drafted by
to
the
in college.
He got drafted by Oakland.
In college, he played football and baseball, right? At
Yeah.
Alabama and Oklahoma, or just
No,
Oklahoma?
he went to-
Oklahoma. I think.
I just remember he committed to Texas A&M, then he transferred to Oklahoma, and you played under Baker Mayfield.
So he did play at Alabama though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, like freshman year.
Yeah,
I don't think he went to.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
yeah, he did.
Sure.
I'm positive
Yeah.
he did.
I'm almost positive because there's a photo of like him, Jalen Hurts, and Tua like all together or something.
No, that's somebody else you're thinking of.
I'm looking it up right now.
Am I thinking of?
That's right.
For the Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Yeah. I think it was. Oh, I know what picture you're talking
So
about.
he did not
It's
play.
Tua,
he did-
Jalen Hurts.
Wait, so
and Mac
Kyler Murray
Jones.
did not play for Alabama?
No.
You went to Texas A&M.
Okay.
I know who.
Sorry,
I know what
Jack.
picture you're talking about. It was. I know what picture you're talking about.
I
It's Tua.
promise.
It's Tua.
Jack dunking
Mac
on me
Jones,
with my lack of
and
football
Jalen
knowledge.
Hurts.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, that's still like a legendary.
still a
photo.
legend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's you ever seen that Mark Ingram picture next to Derrick Henry?
Oh my goodness.
That's just how much the game's involved.
It's like that's like when you stand next to Calvin, right, Jack?
Oh my goodness.
Mark Ingram was a freak athlete.
He was a freak athlete.
I don't think you can compare me to Derrick Henry. He's built like a freight train, and I'm built like
he's a bowling ball.
Not a freight train.
yeah, I'm built like a stick. Oh my god. Speaking of Mark Ingram, I saw he's still on the Saints roster. Like he's their backup.
Dropped 20
running back.
fantasy points yesterday.
Are you serious? Wait.
Or on Sunday.
But isn't
Yeah.
he getting kind of old? I remember he's like.
Yeah. What
He's
is
old,
what is
yeah,
what
he's
is Mark Ingram's
old.
age? Somebody look that
Yeah,
up.
he's in his 30s or something.
Let me look it up.
Remember,
real
he
quick.
played at Flint Southwestern. He played in small
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
One thing I did not know, he's 31, is that
Mark.
Draymond Green grew up in Saginaw.
Oh yeah, just Saginaw's produced a lot of great basketball players. Also, people always forget that. I know I'm getting off topic a little, but people always forget that Michigan actually is decent when it comes to like basketball recruiting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
their basketball team
Yeah.
is ranked. fourth
Where they
right
bring in like 2 5-stars, 2 4-stars this year.
now. Their basketball team's
I meant
fourth
like
ranked right
Michigan,
now.
like
Okay.
like the state as a whole.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, just like a quick note, I was trying to look up Mark Ingram's age, so I put in all I put in was Ingram age, and then it came up with Brandon Ingram, who I think is a college basketball player. And Jack, you kind of looked over at me and you were like, Mark. I didn't look up Brandon. I know what Mark Ingram's name is. I just put in Ingram age.
He's 31.
We were talking about how the Jets got pooped on by the Buffalo Bills.
No Mike White.
Somebody was comparing Rex Ryan to Robert Saleh. Ryan's now an analyst for ESPN. This is his quote: "Don't ever compare this guy to me."
Rex Ryan was fun. I miss Rex Ryan. I remember I used to watch Hard Knocks. He wasn't a bad coach, but he also did have a very good defense. But yeah, he was.
What was the thing about him with grapes or something?
I don't know. I just remember he'd always joke. He was a big jokester. He
made some kind of joke about grapes. I can't recall. I
just remember he always, like, as a coach, everyone says that he was such a fun guy to play with. Coach with, because like he'd let the players have fun and be themselves and stuff. But yeah, and he did have money. It's crazy to think how good he did in his first 2 years of the Jets. He went to I think he was a wild card, and he went all the way to he came within a game of the Super Bowl, and he did the same thing the second year.
Jets. J-E-T. They should. You guys know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? They need to let him. Gary V. He's a big. Yeah.
TikTok guy.
Well, that's what he's known from. But
yes.
He wants to buy the Jets. I feel like he should do it.
I'm not sure
you should buy the Lions. I'm sure he'd do a much better job.
I always told myself this: if I ever got rich, I want to buy the Lions.
No. Hey, one guy we haven't talked about yet.
Can I talk about one thing real quick?
Yeah.
I want to know how Mike White did his best Zach Wilson impression. 24 for 44, 251 yards, and 4 interceptions. Sheesh. That is
Mike White. What did he say? I'm the best quarterback in the league or something? He said something super cocky.
He said, Peyton Manning, I'm going to break your record. And they came out first game and broke Peyton Manning's record.
Yeah.
Broke his record for interceptions in his first game.
No, his first game, he broke his record for passing yards, completions, and stuff and touchdowns and stuff like that. He threw 5 touchdowns in his debut.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We have not talked about Cam Newton.
God tier player.
It's honestly
best quarterback to ever play a game.
It makes me. I don't know about that.
He's up there. He's top 5 at least.
Height and size and speed.
It was making me really.
A little bit of nostalgia.
Yeah, that's actually the word I was going to use. Nostalgic this week when I saw that the Panthers were going to bring him back, and honestly, I think it's a great move because Newton's a good quarterback.
I'm back.
Newton's a good quarterback. When you have Darnold go down, he was the best available guy in the market, better than having your, practice squad or backup come in. Obviously, he doesn't know the playbook super well with the new coaching staff. I know he was
had him run the ball,
but prime Cam Newton.
He was good.
Prime Cam Newton.
Player.
It gives you chills.
Yeah, that's the thing about Cam Newton. That's the thing. If you're blessed with the college quarterback like he was, a guy who can run and he's big and he can throw really well, that's why he won a national championship. I just watching a thing. They're talking about this. Not a lot of half of the guys he threw to at Auburn didn't even go to the NFL draft. He literally led that team on his back.
You know what's funny?
Took him to a champion.
Newton only attempted 4 passes in the game though. He was 3 for 4 for 8 passing yards.
He threw a touchdown, and
That's about it though. What time of the game did he come in?
I don't know. I think it was the first quarter, wasn't it?
No, because
maybe it was second quarter.
Phillip Walker had 167 yards and 22 completions. I don't know. He got hurt, right? And that's when Newton came in?
Honestly,
I don't know.
I didn't really pay attention to that game that much.
I don't know.
All I know
Regardless,
is McCaffrey gave me 20-plus fantasy points.
Cam Newton is back. He threw for a touchdown, rushed for a touchdown. I think a big part of his job was just giving the ball to McCaffrey and Hubbard, but...
Yeah, I was actually really upset seeing Hubbard get a touchdown because I have McCaffrey on my team, and I need those 6 points would have won me this week. So if I had that touchdown from CMC, I think I would have won. But
there is literally nothing worse than having the RB1 on the team in fantasy, and then when they give the red zone touches to the RB2. That's
what
literally so annoying.
That's what the Lions did. I had DeAndre Swift, and they gave it to Jamar Jefferson.
Oh. I don't even know who that is.
It might have been a different guy's name. Didn't score a touchdown. I forget.
There's 2 different guys on the line scored a touchdown that I don't think anybody has in their fantasy team. Yeah, Jamar Jefferson and try to pronounce it.
Yeah, I know.
Godwin
apologize in advance for the.
Igwebuke. That's not bad. Godwin Igwebuke.
He went to Northwest. He went to Northwestern.
Last thing I want to talk about for games from this week before we do a short preview about next week's games.
Yes.
I think Sunday Night Football, that is a game that I did watch, at least the first half.
Chiefs are back.
Chiefs are back. That's exactly what Patrick Mahomes needed for his confidence, struggling this year. Albeit Raiders not very good, struggling, losing, their top wide receiver and their head coach in the span of 2 weeks. Don't really want to get into that too much because that's a whole rabbit hole that we could dive down. But Chiefs are back. Didn't play a very good team, but nonetheless, Patrick Mahomes went off. We saw that Mahomes-Kelsey connection is still alive and well. Kelsey had 8 receptions for 119 yards.
Yeah, I regret trading him away.
Tyreek had a decent game, 7 catches for 83 yards. Darrell Williams, their running back, he actually had 9 catches for 101 yards. That's pretty crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Big passing team, though.
The thing about Mahomes is
Mahomes threw for real quick. Can I read his stat line? Sorry for interrupting you. He was 35 for 50, 406 yards, 5 touchdown passes. That's just like the type of Mahomes that we were used to last season.
The thing about this is I saw a tweet and it said, all offenses, like good offenses are going to struggle eventually, and people really knew what Mahomes does now, and he just chucked it downfield. So defense are going to say, no, we're not allowing that, and we know what to do. So that's the thing. You can have a player, for example, like I'm trying to think, like Robert Griffin or the Baltimore Ravens when they're doing really good. You can't really out-scheme NFL team anymore. Our coach is gonna find a way. Like look when the Ravens were having really good with Lamar running the ball, and then they met the Titans. They lost. You can't just you're not just ready to out-scheme it. But yeah, I'm happy to see Mahomes doing good. I always like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Same.
I saw something on Instagram. It was like who people thought got figured out, and it's a picture of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, and then it was like who actually did get figured out was Patrick Mahomes. I mean, in those first few weeks, he got literally shut down. So
Yeah. Just a quick note. This is a little off topic. I'm looking at the Chiefs' receiving stats. They've got a wide receiver, number 13. He had 4 catches for 46 yards. His name is Byron Pringle. That's one of the.
I knew.
That's
I
a
knew
cool
that.
name. That's a cool name.
Yes.
Derek Carr actually didn't play too bad in the loss. 261 yards, touched 2 TDs, and he had 1 interception as well, but not bad. Talked about the games going on this week. To wrap up today's show, we're not going to predict all of the games, but
The big ones.
what's 2 or 3 that you guys are looking at in terms of the top matchups for next week? I already have. There's one that really, really sticks out to me, but I'll let you guys go first.
So Cardinals Seahawks.
Do we think Russ will be back up to his normal ways, or do you think he's still going to struggle?
If Kyler Murray comes back, I don't think they do very well. But that's just me.
I agree.
Probably what stands out the most to me is probably the Cowboys and the Chiefs. That's probably gonna be a good game.
Same
Yeah.
for me, because we didn't talk too much about the Cowboys. Trayvon Diggs, best corner in the NFL right now, at least. They went off this week. What was the final? They demolished the Falcons 43 to 3. Crazy stuff.
Defense.
Dak had one of his best games. Tony Pollard had more rushing yards than Ezekiel Elliott, which is an interesting story. They didn't run the ball very much, but I think the Cowboys' defense is really what carried them. And
they had 22 fantasy points.
Dan Quinn's like their defensive coordinator now, so
so he beat his old team.
Well,
They gave him the game ball.
With how dominant the Dallas defense was last week against the Falcons, granted not a very good Falcons team, but they limit a Falcons team that's put up a lot of points this season typically. They limited them to 3 points, and I think although Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs offense is going to be really hot, the Cowboys defense is really going to struggle, or the Chiefs O-line is really going to struggle against the Cowboys defense. I think they'll dominate them, force a lot of turnovers, And
It's gonna be.
that's why I
game-
think the Cowboys will come out on top by a touchdown. That's my prediction.
I think so. I think that game is going to be whoever gets a stop first. Whoever can get that defensive stop, because as long as you get that, and you can go up by two, it's whoever's up by 2 scores at the end of the third quarter is pretty much going to win.
I think the Chiefs have a better offense, but I think the Cowboys' defense is way better than the Chiefs' defense. And Dak Prescott, Zeke, they're not great. I don't know. They're very inconsistent, but so are the Chiefs so far this year. And if I had to pick, I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think the Cowboys' defense is going to struggle. I think they're gonna. I mean, how good that the Chiefs' offense is arguably best in the league in terms of passing.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys' defense. I mean, they just showed their potential against the Falcons. So I think it's either the Cowboys' defense is going to outperform what everybody thinks, or they're going to underperform and not do anything.
Yeah. Back to the Cardinals versus Seahawks. Definitely, it really depends on whether Kyler's healthy or not. But I think, who did they have start last week? Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy was their starter against the Panthers this week?
I believe so.
Okay. It's tough because I know Russ isn't 100%. I think it's really a toss-up, especially if Kyler doesn't play.
Yeah, Colt McCoy.
I'm going to go... I'll go out on a limb. Go with the Cardinals.
Think they upset? A little upset?
Cardinals.
I don't. It's not. It wouldn't be upset actually. If Kyler Murray's back, it won't be. But
27-24 Cardinals. That's my prediction. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go 23-20 Cardinals.
What about you, Jack?
I'm saying 24-17 Seahawks.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I can see it. I hope.
already watched
I want the Seahawks to win. I just don't know if they will. Especially, I don't know, their pass game. They rely on their pass game a lot because their running backs are banged up.
I always thought people say they should give Russell more chances, which is true. He's not a bad passer.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was that run game.
I think the premier matchup this week is Dolphins Jets. Obviously.
That'll probably be a tight game. It's just like when the what was it? The Dolphins played the Jaguars.
The Jaguars.
That was a crazy game. I'll go with Dolphins had a big win last week. They're riding high. Dolphins are gonna win.
Actually, no. I'm changing it. I'm taking
What?
Mike White. Mike White, the best quarterback to ever live.
You say that about everyone now.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick. My Packers are playing the Minnesota Vikings. We're gonna demolish the Vikings.
Yes.
We're gonna win. We're gonna win.
Jettas goes off.
We will win by 17 points.
No.
Yes, we will.
If you win, you're gonna squeak it out by 3.
What?
Yeah.
Nah. We are going to beat the Vikings 30-13. That's my prediction. 30-13 win for the Packers on the road.
I don't know, man.
Minnesota Vikings,
Kirk Cousins, the dad,
poverty
might
franchise. We're gonna demolish them.
I wouldn't say
Aaron Rodgers. I'm joking.
Poverty.
I'm joking. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Go to the Lions.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. He didn't have any time to practice going into last week's game. We still won.
Right.
He's going to have a whole week to practice. Our defense is just going to keep getting better every week. And, Dalvin Cook, he's a good running back. Our defense is going to shut him down. Kirk Cousins sucks. We're demolishing the Vikings.
It was about Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson.
Our secondary is, other than Kevin King, you look at Eric Stokes, Rasul Douglas, Adrian Amos, Chandon Sullivan, all those guys, so good. Packers by 17 points.
I think the Vikings are going to bring back Brett Favre for this game. He might come out of retirement.
Don't even get me started with that. The Vikings literally, they're grateful when they get the leftovers of our players that have won Super Bowls. They're so desperate that they'll take 40-year-old Brett Favre.
But
Do you think the Lions can beat the Browns this week, guys?
No.
No.
I mean, that Lions-Browns matchup has been
I will stop
insane games for years. They had that one game where Matthew Stafford he dislocated his left shoulder through the game when he touchdown. There's been a lot of good games in that.
Yeah,
You said he dislocated his shoulder and then he threw a touchdown after.
But it was his left. It was his left arm.
His left. So he was like just
He got
limp.
dashed on the Hail Mary, and I remember he was. They didn't want. He was
Of course, they had
trying to-
Calvin Johnson, so it got completed.
Well, it
as
was
like
two
1 year
awful
line.
teams going at it. It was like the Browns were very good either, and like
The
they're
Browns
out-
suck. Yeah.
I remember it was pass interference, and they got the ball like the 1 or 2 yard line.
Yeah.
He said, "I can do it." So he gets in there and takes the snap, and he throws it for a touchdown.
He was mic'd up for that game.
Yeah, it was the longest mic'd up moment or something like that in history.
Jeez.
It was
But
pretty
yeah,
fun.
he's tough.
He's a tough cookie. Old. Big Ben. You think he comes back this? Oh no, he's on COVID list. That's right. How do you think the Chargers do against the Steelers? Steelers defense obviously struggled against the Lions.
I think it's going to be at least a 10-point win for the Chargers.
I would agree with you on that.
All right, guys. Anything you want to say before we wrap up this week's edition of the podcast up?
Lions-
Great to be back. This
Lions
was
are
a
making a wild
blast.
card at 8-1, so the Packers suck, and
The Packers
the
suck.
Buccaneers
You wanna,
are overrated.
What do you mean by
Wow.
that?
No, I'm kidding.
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by that? I don't know.
Packers suck. Packers
They
suck.
suck at losing. It seems like,
They suck at losing. I agree with that.
and
They're 8-2.
8-2.
Top of the NFC, baby.
Who'd they
Let's
lose to?
go.
They lost to the Saints because Jabo Winston, the greatest quarterback to ever live.
One thing I forgot to mention, Packers they lost Aaron Jones this week.
Yes,
He sprained his MCL, so he's out for 2 weeks at least.
Best running back.
And Rashawn Gary snapped his arm in a really awkward way, so he's out. He's not a huge contributor on our defense, but AJ, to finish the podcast, I just want to give a shout out to AJ Dillon. He's been the backup running back for the Packers. I think he's been the better running back out of the two. I love Aaron Jones, but he's been kind of dealing with injuries all season.
Right.
AJ Dillon, RB1 now, at least for the next 2 weeks, and I think he's going to go off. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground this week, and man, he's just so strong. After contact, he just drags guys with him, and it was great to see him. Kind of a coming out party for him against the Seahawks.
It reminds me of old Marshawn Lynch.
I'm sincerely hoping. Vikings have a tough run defense, but I think AJ Dillon's going to be all over it, and Rodgers is going to be back in practice, get more comfortable, and be back to his normal self. So, super excited for this next weekend's games, and hopefully we can do a high school football broadcast this Saturday.
Yeah. Oh,
You guys looking forward to that?
Yeah,
I am.
Frankenmuth and Grand Rapids Catholic Center on NFHS 1 o'clock.
Catch it.
1 o'clock on Saturday.
Bills are the best team in the AFC. They're going to win the Super Bowl, and Josh Allen will be the best quarterback of all time. My name is Ray Mozurkewich, and I'm out.
How many different quarterbacks are the best quarterback of all time now?
Josh Allen only.
You said like 5 people are the best quarterback of all time.
Josh
Anyways,
Allen will become the best quarterback.
doubt it. Anyways, thank you guys all for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the podcast, and we'll see you next week.